Welcome back to Bloodborne Part 32. Here we go on to the Upper Cathedral Ward. So remember, we got the key way back in the Yarhogul Unseen Village. So you have to progress the game quite a distance. Don't blindly run. Make sure that the platform's down. It's probably been a long time since we've been here. The coolest part is that none of the shit from the early game was affected by the blood mode. So everything here is going to be simple, easy, one-swipe kills. Just run. Gotta come in here and deal with these guys as you see fit. And if you haven't done any of this stuff yet, now's the time to do it. Go down there, get the workshop, get 1/3 umbilical cord, but you should have followed along in the early game anyway and make that all happen for yourself. Up here, just kind of poking away. Hello. Just keep climbing up. Remember the flame sprayer, guys? And use the upper cathedral key in order to get up here. Alright, so a couple of tough encounters here. This is meant to be like a late game area. These little baby things are weird, and you could take them out if you want. They actually do really hurt you. So we see the return of the ghost face once more. They are quite tough. There you go. Yeah. Those things are shit. As you can tell, those are kin enemies, so they take a lot of poke damage. A lot of this area is probably better suited for the rifle spear. And they are all interested in that singing harmony voice. Grab yourself the Great Lake. All damage reduction by 4%. So, pretty good rune. And a baby ambush. A lot of pros here. Yeah, just take that opportunity while he kind of just yells at you to swipe at him. The name of the game with this area is that there's a bunch of bloodsuckers. They will be everywhere. I will probably suggest a torch for this area, seeing that a lot of things are not carryable. I was waiting for the ambush to happen a lot earlier than that, so... Pop this door. Now this area can be real easily dealt with if you're scared of the beast. Because if you look around, you can't really see nothing. Over here, it's locked. And we can see something's already got a beat on us, which is our brain cell. Now, I've actually never seen this one kind of run at me before, so this is good. That's crazy. That's alright, he can steal one. We don't need it. So the beast here, Brainsucker kind of ruined it, but they can be cheesed through the door just like the very beginning ones. Or just get behind them. I would probably drag them. Kind of make them follow you to here. Just kind of keep going. And any other ones we can counter, you just run behind them and do the same setup. This is the door that we're going to want. It's locked, however. Grab the chalice material, and then... Yeah, you can already hear them moving around. Normally the beast would be down here, so you'd have to fight from its backside. But if you come down to these sides, you can see that there is little hidden areas. We want to get this guy to turn. Go. For some easy chunks. Thankfully, he didn't grab me, so be aware of the ambush there. But we wanted those chunks for sure. Just remember that area that we were in. We're going to come back to it, but we need to go down here first. We're going to grab stuff. You kind of want to be patient. There will be... Oh, never mind, we already fought him. So that sucker that came up the stairs before all the beasts dropped down, that he was patrolling this hallway. So for whatever reason, his AI found us, and he decided to chase us up the stairs, which I've never seen before, so that was kind of interesting. But he stole an insight, so it's okay. All of that for the Cosmic Eye Watcher badge. Badge of a member of the choir, elites of the Healing Church. The eye signifies the very cosmos. The choir stumbled upon an epiphany very suddenly and quite by accident. Here we stand, feel planted in the earth, but might the cosmos be very near us, only just above our heads. So, leaning more into what the choir is all about. More world building, more lore. And this part can be pretty difficult. So you do want to be plussed up on HP. Have a patrolling brain sucker right there. I don't know how far he comes, so we'll just kind of do this. I would just drop. See if they follow through. You just kind of want to stay away from them. Groups of 3 will definitely murder you. Blindfold cap. So now you got the full church uniform or choir uniform. Pearl slugs, those are a chalice material. A hallway full of items. Obviously the brain sucker would be the most deadly thing there. We can take that. And killing that specific one will net us the orphanage key, which we need to progress. Very important door right here that's easily missed. I want to pop this door. Interact with this dude. Make contact gesture. I would put that in your list of gestures. Get rid of anyone you don't want here. Probably change out sit down. Make contact gesture is going to be a gesture we need for an item in the future. That's kind of a hidden thing, mechanic, I guess you want to call it. Nothing else to be gained from up here, though, however, sadly. So you just want to go ahead and continue back down. The only real strat I have for this is just like, I should have got the backstab off, but I panicked. And then that's why that allowed that thing to run over. But we could have let it do its thing. It would have been shooting at us regardless because it's supposed to know where we're at. Just because it does house the cathedral key or the orphanage key. Then you should recognize this. A shortcut. You're asking yourself, what do I do with this key? Well, we can actually read the key. Key to the orphanage, birthplace of the choir. The orphanage, shadowed by the Grand Cathedral, was a place of scholarship and experimentation, where young orphans became potent, unseen thinkers for the healing church. The choir, that would later build the healing church, was creation of the orphanage. Members of the choir have turned into the brain sucker dudes. Use the orphanage key here. And then this is another shortcut. The entrance. Best weapon is going to be the rifle spear for the section. So we have one chunk short of a +9, but it's okay, we can get through it. If you need to, go back to the Hunter's Ring, heal, do whatever you need to do. You're going to want to apply bolt paper for your weapon. The rifle spear is not a weapon capable of doing this. So realistically, the only thing you do is when you die and if you have to run back, it's from the lamp, run straight, and straight through the golden gate. All the little baby things can be ignored. They're not very dangerous. Then you just want to make your way up here. Through here. They're giving us a hint as to what we might see here. Big old arena full of weird, crazy mushroom things, right? Sunflowers, whatever you want to call them. So just for the sake of weapon, if I need to, I can switch over to my other one and apply bolt. But my rifle spear should be just enough to handle this. So there's gonna be a bunch of these guys, and only one of them is like the true boss. So you kind of want to don't get too greedy. They will swarm you. Just kind of poke, understanding your weapon. You want to run down here and find out who the real one is. There we go. Watch out for this thing, it really does do some good damage. I would stay locked off. That's pretty dangerous. And just kind of And then you'll get the communion room. The communion level 4, this is the highest communion room that we will get in the game. It is fully colored in. You will add 4 vials to your list, so now you can do 4, 3, and 2. So you can have a max of, what, 8 vials added to your 20 count. So, yep. The Celestial Emissary is a very lacklusting boss there, but the little laser beams that it shoots out of its head there, that's an item that you can actually get later on. I think it's in the DLC only, though. So very unique that that kind of a weapon or hunter's tool is locked behind DLC content. And this part has always been really strange, to be honest. Because there's no mention of like, oh, right, like no NPCs will tell you to do this or anything. No notes are left behind. I'm not sure if the boss itself was supposed to break it or what the case might have been with this thing. So unless you like just kind of spammed around the entire game, we've always known it that it's not really like interactive with the environment as far as like breaking objects and stuff like that. Unless enemies do it to us. So you want to come over to this window, and it's breakable. But like I said, it's very unique in the sense of like, why would they not allow things like this to happen throughout the game? So, because your brain's never trained that you can break objects ever, and there's no hidden walls or anything like that to speak of in the main story of Bloodborne, so it's just kind of one of those things. Like, how would you ever know that that's a breakable object? Unless you just kind of were next to the window and messing around or something like that. So through that is going to be a hidden optional boss. Very tough one at that. We are going to want to change our outfit into the choir gear due to the arcane resistance that this thing has. And honestly, we probably should have turned into the choir stuff, because the Celestial Emissary there, you saw it shot those little beams of rays at us, and it was it hit really hard. Let's just say that. And dying to that thing is kind of embarrassing, to be honest, because it's real easy. It's just a thrust, you know, like a thrust attack type thing, and you just got to run around it, make sure you don't get swiped. The little dudes are extremely easy to poke away from you. But common mistakes are just getting greedy, rushing in, not managing your stamina, getting swarmed up, and then letting that thing just kind of kick and wail at you and shoot those laser beams out of its head. It'll be a redundant thing to kind of go back and forth between this, so we do want to at least plus up our vials. So go ahead and return to the Hunter's Dream. And this will be a 2-boss special on this one. And the choir gear is really not that bad either. I mean, it's got that really neat aesthetic to it. Kind of just screams like what Bloodborne's all about here. Ideally, I would have liked to have a +9 for this, because every ATIS is pretty TIFF. But we'll manage, because we actually are going to get help in this one. I would normally not do the help, because I think that it messes around with the AI too much, and it increases the boss's health bar, obviously, which is something that I'm not a real fan of. For the fight, though, there are going to be no chances at viscerals on this thing, so you do want to, like, I don't know, probably boost our stamina. It's really a stamina match. Like, you want to get off as many attacks as you can with the setup that we're going to do. And then the biggest thing I can say for your memory slot 3 is going to be anything of the arcane resistance type. So Arcane Lake is the +7 edition that we got way back in Bergenworth is going to be your best option here. Not that it's going to save you, because if this thing gets its big old cosmic blast off, it's going to be an insta-kill. Like, no matter what you do to block that damage, like, I'm at as highest I can possibly get for arcane resistance. It's just not going to block the damage. The boss has a very strange radius of, like, where the hitbox actually lands and gets you. Terrible. Not one of my favorite fights in the game, for sure. I think they could have did a little bit better with it. We could spend 20 insight for the chunk, but, I mean, they do come naturally through the game, so I don't want to kind of spend that stuff. Especially when I say we need to save at least 50. And we already had, like, 4 ripped away from us. Due to those things. Nothing new to speak. You may pick up the golden Ardeo if you want it, so you can start looking like oh boy. And that'll just be the Executioner's garb along with the Executioner set and the golden Ardeo is what will net you the entire look. But I think we spent enough on the clothes as it was. So we'll go ahead and just pop an upgrade. We need 26,000 more. Okay, so we'll do that.
Farewell.
Try to get 26,000 more. $21,000 more.
Welcome. What is very well. Let farewell.
Okay, then with those leftover echoes, we can. Oh, that's actually really expensive. Never mind. Well, the next set of Chalice dungeons we need to do is the Ailing Laron Chalice, and then on to Defiled, but we need Laron to get the items for Defiled. So we're going to build that, but we can't, so I wasn't expecting it to be that expensive. But with that, go ahead and go back to the orphanage, if I can find it. A Lumen Flower Gardens. That's, I always forget what it's called. Ba-da-dum-bum-ba-dum. So then what you're going to end up doing now is you're going to jump down the window. And hopefully you spam your echoes, because this can be very dangerous. You can see this is the top part of where Vicar Amelia was kind of chilling out. A Call Beyond. Alright, very, very, very good hunter tool there. Probably the best of all the hunter tools, if I'm being honest here. 40 arcane use, though, however. It just tells you how powerful this thing really can be. And I mean, this thing dominates. This was a heavy used item I had in my arcane build, and let me just tell you that this thing in small quarters will just wipe everything out. So a Call Beyond is basically this giant AoE explosion attack. You can see it uses 7 of the quick bullets, so you don't really get to use it much. You only get like 3 if you use your blood. or if you kind of like, you can get more, but you have to like, you really play with your Quicksilver Bullet count and get the right runes for it and everything. We had a guy chase us, deal with that thing. But yeah, so the Call Beyond is, we haven't seen it thankfully from any of the NPCs, but way back in Bergenworth, there was an NPC on the very top of the spiral staircase. That would have been the first instance of seeing what a Call Beyond looked like. And pretty much it's just like a bunch of laser beams that shoot from the user and it explodes in all different directions around the room. It's an insta-wipe, like it'll just wipe you out in one shot. You don't have a chance against it. Everything in the game that uses it can one-shot you pretty easily because it's just the blasts come in waves and it just hits for multiple pricks of damage. So it's really useful against large things that are not resistant to arcane. So the beast enemies, unfortunately, as large as they are very resistant to arcane for a reason. So we have the ability now to call upon that if you are an arcane heavy build. So same as usual with those guys, they are very dangerous if you let them shoot off their laser beams. And then this is honestly probably one of the first bosses of the entire game where, unless it's like Gascoigne and the Cleric Beast, you're gonna probably have repeated attempts just because of how one-shotty and bullshitty this creature can be. I would send the elevator back up because this could be a multiple attempted run. Probably not due to your fault, but just because of how the hitboxes work here. And you'll see, maybe, I'm hoping not, of how that is. You do get one summon help, so we are going to summon Damien of Mensis. So he looks kind of crazy, right? Cage in the head, a mirror shield, and your threaded cane. So yeah, he comes equipped, ready to go against this thing. I'm not really sure about the choice of weapon there. I think they probably could have gave him something more thrusty, you know, to really help against this thing. The cane is only really thrust potential is in its R2 heavy charge. So very odd choice there. So that thing in front of us is Ebrietas or Ebrietas, and it is a difficult fight. Biggest thing I can say to do is to equip your bolt paper. If that's all you can afford to do with bolt damage, then you're already ahead of the game. But if you can get bolt and pokes at the same time, then you're really doing good. But for me, it's just standard thrust is going to be great because with the Reader Palash, we are pulling off these slashes every now and again and a downward cut. So 2 of the attacks will do criticals, but then the other 2 are just kind of wasting my stamina. I would rather something where I am just continuously poking around just like this, managing my bar and watching it fly as high as it can, because I think that's the best way to deal with Ebrietas. So once you run in there, take a wide right or a wide left, depending on what side the boss gives you, and you want to get in between its tail. After that, you want to stay in between its tail, and you just kind of want to go heavy on just slamming away until the thing dies. That's all there is to it. Keep your bolt paper up if you're using it, and just keep poking away until the thing dies. Manage your health in case it does kind of smack you or something. And the only problem I have right now is that with the hunter being summoned with us, he can actually cause it to use the call from beyond, and that can jack this whole fight up. So typically I don't ever take dude into this fight, but there is summon help. So we'll see what kind of Damien we got today, if he's going to be a dummy or a helper. So just run from one side. You kind of want to get it to crawl away from that little sack that it has over there. stand in front of it. Yep, that's what I'm talking about. It has these wide arcing swipes. And most of the time, you're just spending all your time trying to get behind it. Get in between it like this. Oh. You're safest like right here. This is kind of the general spot you want to be in. When it starts moving away, you move with it. So the mistake I'm making there is that I'm not maintaining my HP bar, like, at all. It's just a twist of the camera. Like this thing, this terrible camera. There we go. So Damien helped out in a way that it was taking the aggro away from us, and it really just didn't know what to do, so it was spinning a lot. Your ultimate reward for this is the Great Eve's Chalice. That is the final set of chalices that we need in order to continue with progress on those. So both Amidala from the Nightmare Frontier and Ebrietas from the orphanage here are the two optional bosses that just give us the chalices. That's like their only use in the entire game. There are some lore things about them that are really cool, but you'll have to like kind of visit that from someone who's really all about that kind of stuff. And then once this is complete, you want to go ahead and just throw on your best gear again, whatever you want to wear, and continue game. Now, the whole reason why we did Canehurst was for this exact reason before we came down to the orphanage. Either way you go, it doesn't matter. They're both pretty even, as in terms of, like, enemies, echoes, and probably bosses. Martyr Ligarius is a dude, so you can think of him as a little bit easier of a fight because of that parry ability, while this thing's a giant beast, which we've seen those over and over again throughout our playthrough. There's a little hidden like jump we can do here. Usually you'll see a message. I don't know if I can pull it off. But like I said with Canehurst, we wanted to go ahead and get those blood dregs for the Vile Queen, so we could do this number. You want to approach this little Rom looking spider dude, and you want to offer the flesh to the altar. Time flows in reverse for the scrap of flesh. Now, how would you even know to do this is beyond me, other than just kind of being inquisitive and walking around and inspecting shit. But if you did not get any blood dregs before Alfred went in and smashed her to pieces, you would not get her queenly flesh, I believe. Or at least this part couldn't be conducted without it. And you would have missed out on an opportunity to revive the Vile Queen. So, with that, we want to go back to the Hunter's Dream after taking care of the upper Cathedral Ward. We'll also take a look at some of the items that were revealed for the Cosmo badge. Nothing in terms of weapons. Nothing in terms of left-handed weapons. Oh, the Rosmarius, that's right. The Rosmarinus is, I call it Rosmarius just because of the way it's spelled, but Rosmarinus is a the sprayer for arcane stuff, basically. There's a flame sprayer and then there's like an arcane version. It kind of sprays out like a mist, very damaging. We've seen this used with the choir dudes, or not the choir dudes, but the monsters up top in the lecture building. They didn't get a chance to use it on me though, since I approached them a little bit more smarter than usual. But yeah, it's just an entire mist that just kind of saps away health, and that's it. Very powerful though in very specific situations, especially if you're trying to gas an entire room full of dudes. So that could be very useful. I just wish like the hitboxes worked properly for those types of items, and I would be seen to use it more often. Okay. We get pearl slugs. Like I said, nothing new of this. That's it for that. So you got Ailing Laron, and then you got the Great Ease. Now, Ease, as you can tell, is a step above with 5 depth. Now, our 5th depth challenge dungeons here are the most difficult dungeons that you'll get in the entire game. But you can tell with the type of materials you need to even create the thing, it's obviously telling you what comes in next order, you know? So if you're ever confused about how to do this, if you don't want to internet search or anything like that, if you just take a look at the chalice ritual materials needed to build a certain chalice, that should indicate like the level and tier of what you're supposed to do next with these things. As long as you don't continuously waste your time on roots, because roots do nothing but give you like different weapons and stuff. Like they are worth your time, I should say. But they're so random that it's not like a guarantee, you know? So you're creating them and you can go and get like an uncanny saw cleaver. You can go find the lost version of the Hunter's Axe. But it's never like for surely known. The only way that you can kind of make that 100% guarantee is by following glyphs online and just kind of using anybody's Reddit or whatever to pick off any kind of chalice dungeons that you might want to do just for those specific runs. They do come pretty heavy, though, on the fact that they're very challenging. Enemies in there will kill you pretty quickly, and enemies are also very strong, so they take a while to kill. Very, very worth it for runes, though, if you're trying to do that route. But there you have it. So Amidala with the Ailing Laron and Abraitis with the Great Ease Chalice dungeons. Now, obviously, with Defiled Chalice, we can't even create it because we need Bastards of Laron. We don't even have any of them. But if the name suggests anything, this is trying to tell us that we need to go to the Ailing Laron Chalice. A chalice that breaks a Lambertsil. Laron is a tragic land that was devoured by the sands. The tragedy that struck this ailing land of Laron is said to have its roots in the scourge of beast. Some have made dreaded extrapolation, Jesus, that Yharnam may be next. So this place called Laron was the first to fall under the beast curse. How interesting is this shit? And I'm not gonna lie, the Ailing Laron, the Great Ease, and Defiled Chalice, and I think there's the Great Thumero Chalice is where you actually finish these chalice quests. I've never done them from start to finish. I've only done just to the points where you need to get to where you need to get to, all for the sake of finding the final boss for the runes, or for the trophy, back when I did it a couple years ago. So it's going to be real interesting. Laron, Ease, and Defiled, and the other one are all going to be very new to me, even though I've completed their challenges before, just by doing glyph searches. So we get to see how we're going to be able to deal with all that stuff. But back to that, we are going to go ahead and create the Ailing Laron. You only ended up with 3 cold blood flower buds. You're going to have to buy an extra one for insight. So as long as you complete the Amidala fight and go to the Nightmare Frontier, you'll have access to the cold blood flower buds. So just conduct it once. Make sure you have enough ritual bloods. And that'll be our first Depth 4 chalice, which is going to be a total change up. So we'll see if I even need to utilize the farming route here at the end game in order to survive it. But I think before we take on anything that's been pretty difficult, because Depth 3 was kind of challenging us a bit in terms of how much damage we were taking and stuff, I think we should progress at least up until we get a plus 10 and get both of our weapons up to plus 10, along with getting our side weapons all figured out and stuff like that. But I think that's the plan going forward. And we need to continuously raise our vitality up to 50, and then just continue to pump into skill and blood tinge so that we're comfortable in a damage set and an HP set that we know that we can survive even the DLC with. So, loop it around. Fix what you need to fix. Blood gem away. We've gotten nothing in terms of blood gems in this entire time, which is insanity. The only new one we picked up was from the Castle Canehurst, and it really did not do anything other than just kind of make you mad because you're like, wow, I got better gems, so what is all this? That's Bloodborne in a nutshell. If you really want the good gems, you have to go hunt them down in those chalices, and that experience is not the greatest. But like I said, I've beaten this game without ever using these because I had no idea that the Hemwick witches even existed, so I went the entire game my first time without ever upgrading these things other than just plus, you know, all the way up to plus 10, basically. So take a look. Yeah, you can tell. It just does nothing, man. That's the newest one we got. The scaling still turns it into an S, but for 4 more damage, and then we got this gemstone that does higher blood attack for this weapon. That's just, it's criminal. It's absolutely criminal. And not even the Hunter's Pistol's really taken into effect, so yeah, they left a lot to be desired with the blood tinge stuff. The coolest thing about the skill blood tinge is, I guess, the Shikage, and that's like the only weapon that you might want to run with this entire build. But we're taking that challenge. We're using Reader Palash. We're using the Rifle Spear. I know I haven't really like transformed tricked him and used him as the main parry because I'm just so used to left-handed pistols that at this point I think I'm just married to it. So fix up your runes any way you want. We are going to be progressing the game, so if you want more runes, more viscerals, if you want to block damage, I would say just take whatever of these things you want. I always like doing eye because some things drop some interesting stuff that I don't remember half the time. And then visceral up because our viscerals are pretty high anyway. If I need to, I can switch out for the all damage reduction, which is pretty good for me too. But now you're at a point where like just fit whatever you want into your build style, and then you'll know when you come up on boss rooms. I mean, they kind of present themselves pretty wide, large areas. And there's always seems to be a lamp around to kind of like warn you, like, hey, yeah, this is gonna happen. Go back to the top hats. Then we'll hold on to these echoes because there's no real sense in using them out. So trying to figure out where to go next. Canehurst complete. The frontier is complete. The woods. Alfred's quest line. Oh. Jeez, I almost completely forgot. We need to go back to the Vile Queen's chamber so you can see her resurrected. And there our queen is still alive.
Closest of kin, bearer of our blood, I welcome thee. What is thy wish?
As if nothing happened.
We await for the honor.
So the whole point of returning her, though, is, from what I remember, I think you get a certain item in the Chalice Dungeons of the future. And once you come back with a certain item, you can get extra dialogue with her. And it's pretty funny. I think it's pretty cool at the same time. The idea of it, but wouldn't be able to get that scene or action if she just laid in a bloody pulp. So with Alfred gone and everything taken care of that, it's as if nothing even happened. So it's just a nice little secret. I learned that like last year or something like that. I didn't really venture to look on the wikis and stuff like that until I was like, oh, I wonder how Bloodborne really, like, what's the full take on it? How do you run a whole full 100% run on this thing? So I thought that was a pretty good read, and I'm glad that that all worked out, because that's the first time I've ever done it cleanly. So with the Vile Blood Queen resurrected, we'll go ahead and go back to the Hunter's Dream. And there's really no point into returning into the old areas anymore, because we've done everything you possibly can do up to this point with them. But if you haven't, I mean, go back, do it. Any NPCs that you didn't rescue prior to are no longer rescuable. You should have 2/3, or yeah, you should have 2/3 of the umbilical cords in your inventory right now. 3 and 4 will come later. There's nothing back in Yarhogul, the Unseen Village. The Upper Cathedral Ward is now taken care of. The orphanage has been taken care of. So really, all that's left is the Nightmare of Mensis, and we are like now in the true end game of Bloodborne. So no more quest lines, no more hunters or anything like that to deal with. There is one dude that's like on a bridge. I guess it's an NPC character. But nothing like huge, like nothing to really go out home with here, you know? And go ahead and return to the Nightmare of Mensis is where we're heading next. Your highest frenzy resistance is going to be key in this, so we want to probably look crazy again. Guys, kind of keep scanning. And then when we pick back up, we're going to start the Nightmare Mensis and begin our track to the endgame content. All right. Thanks for watching.